Hello and welcome back to Scale to Exit with Alejandra Santos. And today is going to be a solo episode. I want to come in here and talk to you guys about something that's being on my mind. So we're going to dive in a few. But before I do that, I want to welcome everybody that's in Scale to Exit podcast tuning in. If you are new into the podcast, welcome, welcome, welcome. If you have been here before and you're coming back, thank you so much for stopping by. And we love you. We appreciate you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You're always welcome at Scale to Exit. Scale to Exit is the platform where I bring experts and we have insightful conversations about how to scale lean, how to do marketing the right way, how to increase revenue, how to prepare for an exit, what things you need to know to prepare for an exit, what mistakes you should not do, and obviously what things you should not do versus other things that you should do in your business. So yeah, this is a great platform to be at for anybody that has a business and for anybody that is starting a business as well. We welcome you. It's always great to start thinking about an exit when you're starting to think about a business. So I am going to elaborate more on that thought when I dive in into the episode. So, yeah, for everybody that's here, thank you so much for coming by. As usual, please, I ask you a favor. Can you please share, like, comment, and subscribe to your favorite platform to tune in to our podcast? As you guys know, it takes a lot of time to bring this amazing conversation to you guys, to your home. So if you could just drop me a little hello or a little heart or yes, thumbs up, you don't have to make big sentences. Or if you can subscribe or share it to your network, to your friends, to other business owners out there, to other executives out there. That will be, the magic of this podcast. Okay. Well, now I'm going to dive in into what I have prepared for you today. And I am going to talk about how to scale a business the right way. So, a lot of the time, I have business owners that come to me and they say, "Oh, I am ready to scale, Alejandra. I am so ready. I'm making 2 million. I want to get it to 20 million. I'm making 5 million. I'm going to get it to 30 million, whatever it is the goal." And I go, "Okay, yeah, let's do it." I'm very excited, but I'm also thinking, okay, let's do some checks in here and see if you're really ready to scale. And this is what I'm going to be talking to you about. First of all, we're going to have to do a little mindset inventory. Okay. So I know that I have brought guests here before where we talk a lot about the mindset. And the reason why I do that is because the mindset is what drives your decision making and what drives the path and the development of your business. Because if you do decisions on a rational mind, it's going to look very different if you make decisions on a um, very reactive mind, right? So you also want to, you want to be careful of how you do decisions in your business, and that's why you have to check your mindset. But I also talk about mindset because I like to say that there are three types of business owner mindsets, and all of that is a kind of a journey for an individual. The first one is, I'm the owner of the business. The second one is, I'm the operator of the business. The third one is, I am the investor of the business. And depending on how you see your business in these different mindsets, it really will depend how ready you are to scale your business. So, for example, if you have an owner mindset, then most likely you're probably in your business not being able to delegate. You basically probably do it all on your own. You don't trust people to delegate. You're really good at your craft, but you're also the business, right? So you basically have a job to just, be honest. If you do have an operator mindset, then you're starting to delegate. but you still don't trust enough of your people. So you're in this position where like you're still in the business, but you are less than the owner in the business. And then when you start looking at the investor mindset, you start looking at the business like I'm out of the business. Everybody has his own role. Everybody knows what they're doing. Everybody has authority and some kind of decision making power. So you're not so involved on those small details that you were involved when you were the owner or when you were the operator. So those mindsets are a progression of one another. And I do believe that at some point you were basically the owner, the operator, and hopefully now you're the investor. So, first of all, number one is take inventory of your mindset. Are you an owner? Are you an operator? Or you're an investor? So when you start trying to scale, when you tell anybody, I want to scale my business from 5 to 50 million, that's great. But that huge gap is going to require a certain kind of mindset. It's going to require for you to show up in a different way. It's going to require for you to speak in a different way. It's going to require for you to make decisions in a different way. Your leadership is going to change. The way you manage your team is going to change. The way you hire is going to change. A lot of pieces need to change in order for you to scale your business. And it all starts with your mind. So number one task, because this is a podcast where I give you tasks and for you guys to do, get some homework going from this podcast. Number one, ask yourself, if I bought this business today, what would I change immediately to increase its value? So ask yourself, like going from an investor's perspective, if I was looking at this business and I find it appealing, what would I change to increase its value? And that's going to give you a lot of clarity. Okay. So, investor mindset is the most powerful way to scale a business because you are emotionally detached of your business. The key here is to become emotionally detached. That way, your business can thrive without you. Because scaling when you're still an operator is going to become a chaotic growth. And I'm going to talk about that in a little bit. Okay. All right. So, task number 2 on this one. I want you, once you identify, right, what can you change in the business that you're looking as an investor to increase its value? I want you to go ahead and block the time to focus on those things to create value. And talking about this right now, I also want to talk something, right? Business strategy. I want to simplify this for you because people say, oh, it's a strategy. I got to have that and start working maybe 6 months before I decide, before we go for an exit, or maybe I should start, working on it like 3 years. Guess what? Exit strategy is business strategy. Whenever you sit down and you do budgets, which I hope you do, forecasting, which I hope you do, when you start making those strategic goals and a roadmap, which I hope you do, on where you're going to be at, you can incorporate your exit strategy in that business strategy by just making your business more valuable in the areas that should be more valuable. It's not a rocket science math. It's not something that you have to do separate. This is something that you can do simultaneously as you create your business strategy. It's just kind of like an enhancement in the business. That's basically what it is. And basically look at the business differently and start adding those kind of value sets. Okay, so that's number one. Number 2 that I look at when people tell me I'm so excited, I'm ready to scale. I'm like, okay, do you have the right systems? Do you have the right people? And are you able to delegate? Okay. So let's go to people first because I think that this one's very important. Um, I have worked with a lot of businesses and I see a common denominator for businesses that are, bootstrapped and they're around like 2 million, 3 million range, entering that range. And I see that a lot of these businesses hire people that are either family members, friends, or they just, feel good in their gut, right? And that's great. I always say hire for for character, and then you train the skill set. That's something that I go by. If they have your morals, your character, great. But there is something that happens when the business starts to grow. And what that happens is, I want to explain it like the business has its own identity and you have your own identity. You're not the business anymore, and that's part of the mindset that we just touched about. The business has its own identity, and it's kind of like a baby, like a child. When the baby grows into a grow bigger child, I would say they require a different kind of food, they require different kind of clothing, they require a different kind of schooling. So your business is going to be the same way. It's going to require a different kind of professional skill set. It's going to require for your team to show up in a different way. It's going to require for you to have some policies in place. It's going to require for you to have some culture established. It's going to require for your team to grow with the business. And what happens is that sometimes this is not the case. So first of all, do an inventory of your people. Are your people, is the people in your team, are the ones that can sustain this level of growth, or are they not, right? I don't say fire people. No, I don't say that. I'm not saying that. This is not the podcast to say fire people. We're not doing that. Firing people is kind of like the worst things that you can do. But I will say that certain roles or certain, professions, require more professional skill sets. So you have to think about those kind of things. And I always say, as the business grows, there's opportunity to do different things. So if the team, if you see that somebody is better the tech side, than whoever was doing the tech side, I'm sure that that person was also good at something else, that does not require this very particular skill set on the tech side, right? So you want to think about, you want to be mindful of where the business is going and who's going with it, because one of the biggest bottlenecks, I would say, that if you don't manage correctly is the people. So I don't want to come out like, again, like I'm trying to fire people. No. But what I'm trying to say is, if you don't have the right team in place, the business can, get stuck. So that also comes with the leadership, which is you and your executive team. And that also comes with the systems, which we're about to talk about. The systems are really important. When people tell me I'm ready to scale, I say, okay, great. So who's doing that? And do you have a project management tool? And who's managing the projects? And do you know how long this person takes on that? And okay, you don't know how to answer my questions. Okay. So then now we have a systems problem, because on a company that is ready to scale, you have SOPs, which you already know, documented processes in order that are transferable, that if somebody is sick, you can bring someone else and they can do the same job, right, with those SOPs. You have a structure in place. You know that by doing project A, you know that project B will get done, because project C depends on project A to be happening by project B. And you have this whole flow of things going. You know, in customer service, who's handling customer service. You know that if there's a conflict with the customer, you would send them to them. And if that person doesn't know, cannot fix it, then we have a customer service person that is this one right here that has like 100% satisfaction rate. And you have a system in place when you want to go ahead and collect, acquire new customers. You have an email system that works really well. You have a people assigned to their task of doing emails, or follow-ups, grab the phone call and text people. That's a system in place. If you don't have that, you don't have systems, then you're not ready to scale the way that you should scale. Now, if your revenue is growing, but you don't have any of these things in place, you're going to have a very chaotic growth experience. And I know that because I have experienced it with a few of my clients, which is why I come along. Delegation is the third one here that I want to talk on this point, because delegation, if you have the people, but then you're acting like the operator where you delegate, but then you don't delegate because you're still doing the job because you want to, you think that you're the only one that can do it better, then you're not really trusting your team, then delegation can become a problem as well. So I want you to do this task. We did in the last episode that I was alone. I asked you to write down the tasks that you could handle and the ones that your team could handle instead of you. So now I want you to go ahead and create a simple process doc or a Loom video of a task that you don't feel like you know in your heart that you need to delegate it, but you don't want to delegate it. So make a note of that one and go ahead and do a Loom video and show your team member, your colleague, on how they need to get the job done for you. So I will put a link to Loom videos on that software in the show notes. That way you can go in there and like download the Loom, but it's called LOOM. So that would be really helpful for you to go ahead and and create your first Loom video, which is really fun and easy. And it's also free. So there you go. And now we're going to also look at your organization chart. I don't know if you guys have organization charts. I recommend you should do one of those. If you don't, let me know. I also help owners create organization charts. But basically what you want to do here is that you want to see the roles and who you have as a team right now and start analyzing who's going to go in what role as you continue to scale or who's going to go into other roles as well. So something to keep in mind. All right, number 3, which is my favorite, honestly. And I always tell this to my clients. You're being too reactive. You're not being proactive. So reactivity versus proactivity is a type of leadership. You want to be a proactive leader. You want to be an emotional, regulated leader. People respond to that better, right? Your clients will respond to that better. Your team will respond to that better. You will just feel better about leading your business. When you come from a reactive place, it doesn't feel like people can trust you as much. And how do you become proactive versus reactive? So a lot of the times is by sitting down and creating things like strategic roadmaps, budgets, forecasting, KPIs, things of that nature that you're going to be able to measure performance against. So for example, if you don't have budgets, right, and you're spending money and you want to hire someone and you don't know if you have the money to hire the person because you don't have a budget. So you have to make a very rushed decision with not a lot of certainty because you don't have the tools that would give you those answers. If you don't have a forecasting, if you don't have your goals set up and you don't have KPIs to measure against where you're going, and you don't have your forecasting done for those goals and those KPIs, and how are you going to know if you're falling short, if you're falling behind, if you're just doing as much? You don't know. And those are the things that people really, as business owners, tend to not focus on. Because you guys, I've seen it many times, and I'm not here to point fingers, but that is part of the planning process. And you have to spend time planning on your business in order to have clarity and in order to have execution and scale the right way, not grow and be all chaotic about it. So be proactive, not reactive. I want you to do, very simple things. Go ahead and go and analyze if you have set goals for your business for the next 5 years. If you're saying, well, Alejandra, in the next 5 years I'm going to be exiting my business, okay, well then let's go ahead and set up those exit goals and what those look like for you, not just business wise but personal wise as well, because you also have to prepare for yourself in the personal side. And then from there, I want you to go ahead and if you don't have any goals, then you need to develop those goals. 5 years, okay? In 5 years, I am going to be living in Italy and drinking lots of wine and having an amazing pizza. Yay. Okay, because I had exited my business. Great. And my business going to be exited at 10 million. Okay, cool. So let's go ahead and move backwards from there, right? Let's move backwards from there. After you 5 years, you're going to be there. So that means that your business needs to start to prep for an exit like right now. So what do we need to do that, to make that happen for you? Okay, what are the goals that we need to accomplish? What are the KPIs that measure the performance of those goals, like our performance? Are we doing well meeting those goals? Or are we doing bad meeting those goals? What if we set a goal and then instead of doing really well, we do really bad? What are the what if scenarios? Do you have a contingency plan around that? So start doing those exercises with your team and yourself, because those are the planning part that most business owners don't want to do, but you really should and have to do in order to go from reactive to proactive. All right, number 4, I'm going to talk about trust. And I mentioned it briefly. If you don't trust your team to do certain kind of tasks or even have certain decisions in your business, then you're going to be the opposite of that, which is as a controlling business owner. And we know all guilty of that. I know that all of us like to have control over our business. We like to know what's going on. We like to know who's doing what and how things look. And yeah, and that's all great. But at some point, you're going to have to let go of that control and start trusting more. So let's do a little exercise here. Let's go ahead and define and share your expectations clearly with your team. Okay. And then give them ownership. Like if you have a marketing manager, give the marketing manager ownership of their decisions with the content they're creating, with the assets that they're developing, with the messaging, right? If you have an operations manager, give them the control to manage your team, and to make decisions regarding your team, right? So I want you to really put more emphasis on the trust and on the control. And that's going to really give you the foundation to scale your business. And then number 5, which we talked about briefly, is like making sure you're leading, your team by setting up the KPIs, aligning your team, and measuring for customer success. The NPS score is really good to measure for customer success. You can definitely set up some KPIs at the revenue level, at the customer service level, at the sales level, at the finance level, at the operations level. Some of the KPIs that I like at the revenue is customer acquisition cost, customer lifetime value, the average order value, NPS, right? You can measure how your customers are satisfied. You can do a survey. You can put some questions there and see how they answered. You can also do some team KPIs. Maybe utilization can go up or down. Maybe you're not so worried about utilization because you want them to be more productive and more efficient. So maybe there's something that you need to do about efficiency. Maybe there is something that you want to do with collaboration. So there's a lot of KPIs that can be developed in your business, and you can, do it accordingly. But for this exercise, we're going to define 3 core KPIs and that actually drive value in your business. Okay. And I want you to share them with your team weekly and explain why those KPIs matter. All right. So that's what I have for today. These are the 5 things that I look when people tell me I'm ready to scale, Alejandra. I'm like, okay. These are the 5 things that I look. And then if those 5 things are lacking, then we start creating those 5 things, right? We start working on those 5 things. For anybody here that does not know me, I own a boutique agency where we actually help businesses like yours improve their operations, finance, and prepare for an exit. And we do that at the fractional CFO or COO level, or sometimes as a coach as well for exit planning. We meet with your team, we go along, and we make sure that all those KPIs and all those roadmaps and all those goals are set for the biggest transaction of your life, I would say. So yeah, that is what I do, and I love what I do, and this is why we have Scale to Exit, to bring to you to your home, to your car, and hopefully you find this very useful, because I know this is coming from experience, from clients that I've worked with. And I always say, we are reactive again. I always say, I see the mindset now. So I really, really, really want you guys to get really serious and with yourself. Do the task. And I will put this in the show notes with all the links. And please write me a note. Tell me if, I miss anything for you guys. And if you want me to expand on something as well, comment. You can find me on LinkedIn, Alejandra Santos. So I know, very common name, but I'm actually very easy to find. So I will see you all till next time with an amazing guest. Thank you so much for tuning in. And as usual, hasta la vista, muchachos. Bye.